Hi everyone, I hope you're well. This is CoinsKid, just going to XRP. Once again, thank you for your support, okay? We got the CoinsKid crew, so I've released a brand new indicator for the CoinsKid crew last night. I had the idea for it, I've been working on it whilst I was away, like a little light bulb going off in my head. I had a little idea for it and I've been working on it since I've got back, and I released it yesterday. Basically, it's your bull market support. It's a little indicator I created. I'll show you how it works and how you can use it and things like that going forward, but it's basically derived from the index that I created for yourselves with the macro signals right there. Okay, so really simply what I'm looking at, yesterday there was a coin that I shown you, and again, this channel is all about making you money in this space and myself money in this space. Okay, we're looking at futures blocks. We know that the market was beginning to roll over with Ethereum and that resistance and things like that, and coming back as expected. For those people that watched the video, this is exactly how it's playing out, exactly how I expect it to play out. I'm looking for a pullback, then another run up, basically. You know, and I think you know, there's no bias on this channel. I'm looking at data points telling us that, you know, specific data points that are happening right now that is showing us, okay, we've not really got that much long left in this market for this, you know, big vertical that I'm anticipating across the board, a massive breakout to the upside. But again, I've not got a crystal ball, I can't see into the future. I'm looking at some kind of liquidity event pumping up into September, then I think we've got a big correction on our hands. Whether or not that's the beginning of a bear market, time will tell, and I just need to see what the indicators are telling us at that particular time. So remember, before all the moves, before all the breakouts, even on XRP, if you go back to the charts in October, there was a pullback, then it continued, it broke out to the upside. You know, and go back to the videos back then, I was really bullish because of the data telling me that, okay, and this is the same thing I'm relaying to you right now. Because of the data, I think we've got a vertical in these charts. But aside from that, yesterday, beautiful little short up on like I relayed to you on the futures blocks. It was orange, it was showing us, you know, the bearish divergence, and boom, look at that huge short up for anyone that listened yesterday. 18% down, fantastic short opportunity. So these trades will come again. Let me dive into the futures blocks right now to show you. I'm looking for an opposite of a short because I think the market's a little bit pushed down. I'm looking for coins that are, you know, quite fearful right now, and I'll show you what I'm looking at on the futures blocks today for that long trade. Okay, so taking a quick look at the futures blocks, then go to the block section on CoinsKid.com, go to the futures crypto blocks, and this again outlined so many times. I will make a tutorial video for you. There is a little bit of a guide here on how to use this, okay, and what you need to look for. Basically, in this system here, it's just a visual representation of the sentiment on that particular coin. So yesterday everything was like pretty much green and black and dark green, and what we saw is a couple of orange blocks, and now we don't see them because they rolled over, eventually catching up to Ethereum's rollover. So at the moment you can clearly see that neutral, XRP is just holding that neutral state at the moment, so it's doing okay. It's actually had a nice little bounce as XRP, and I'll look at the charts with you in a moment. But what I'm looking for is coins that are fearful, okay, because the market's rolled over. You've got these coins that are bouncing, especially XRP, but we've not seen a bounce in some of these fearful coins. So straight away you can clearly see there's one coin just there, BCH. We'll take a look at that in a fearful state, and you can clearly see, look, we've got a god candle back test straight away just there. We've got another god candle back test just there as well. So I think this thing's going to pump. Equally, what we've got a bullish divergence that's forming down here as well. So for me, you know, you're under the zero, and like I outlined to you, if we start seeing another little drop here for BCH, we will print a bullish divergence on the RSI. This is the 15-minute time frame. This is a micro time frame, and equally we'll begin to see a bullish divergence on the MACD under the zero line, and this is exactly where your pumps come from. Look, under the zero line, golden cross, pump. Okay, so this is what I'm looking for. I think BCH could be a long, you know, into these levels of resistance just there. We've got 557 and 576. So, you know, right now you could just jump into BCH and look for a beautiful 4% long, or obviously the continuation around about 7.76% long. So what we're seeing right at the floor is this thing's being pushed down. We're seeing a visual representation of the futures blocks showing us it's fearful, and we're seeing bullish divergence build up with the MACD below the zero line, which is basically where your pumps come from. So I'm looking for a long on this particular coin. So you can go long on buy bit or bit, gets entirely up to you. Don't be an over leveraged degen, don't go with your life savings, but I think this thing will pump just like we saw the dump on yesterday, and you know, it's brought to attention really simply by the crypto futures blocks. It's that simple, okay? So let's dive into the charts right now to see what we can see, okay? So one of the reasons why I've not been calling tops on these moves for Bitcoin, when everyone's been screaming bear market and tops and cycle top and things like that, and you know, it's bear market, is really simple. Is way back here in March of 2023 on the Bitcoin dominance chart, Bitcoin dominance broke above the ribbon, okay, and with that it presented the green buy dart. So it's pretty much been Bitcoin season ever since. Look at that. So it's Bitcoin season. Just this little move here, this was XRP season last year, okay, and this is something for anyone that pays attention to the videos, this is something I was anticipating. I was anticipating that big vertical in XRP. We got it, and at this point here on this drop, I was anticipating, go back to April, I was anticipating the big vertical in Ethereum, not XRP. Okay, so please pay attention to the data and the videos that I make, because you know we're nailing this. Okay, so basically since here Bitcoin's been trending up, doing really, really well. This little blip here, this little drop in the dominance led to a massive vertical for XRP. This little drop in the dominance led to a massive vertical for Ethereum. So as this thing starts to trend back up and consolidate sideways under the ribbon, which is what I'm anticipating, as soon as it begins to flip yellow and then red, I think we've got the emergence of an alt season where your micro caps, your small caps, you've forgotten about coins are going to go vertical. And this is what I'm looking at, because you know, if just respectfully, I think XRP's already put in its move, just like Ethereum's put in its move right now. So with XRP, I'm looking at, you know, possibly doubling at most, which would be amazing. I'm looking at Ethereum potentially doubling from here. But this opportunity here, this was not necessarily in Ethereum or XRP, in this massive waterfall that we're experiencing the dominance way back when in the spring of 2021. It was in altcoins, basically micro caps and low caps, and this is where millionaires were minted, you know, within a few weeks. This is why I'm targeting meme coins, low cap coins that are showing the perfect setup. So please pay attention to the updates, okay? Because I think XRP's at its move here, and I think Ethereum's at its move there. So please keep an eye on the updates. People say I'm too bearish and things like that, but if you're looking for exponential gains from this point right now, in this move here, it wasn't XRP, it wasn't Ethereum. And I think in this move here that's potentially coming after consolidation, this next waterfall move, your potential gains are not in XRP anymore because you got it just there, okay, or Ethereum because you've got it just there. You're looking at potential doubling those coins, and a lot of people say I'm an idiot and things like that, but I'm just always providing you opportunity in this channel. So if we see the waterfall, if we see the flip of the yellow on the ribbon on the 5-day time frame, if it starts to flip yellow and we see the red sell dot, boom, I think we've got a huge clue. You know, this precedes a massive waterfall in this chart that is your Bitcoin dominance, basically a rotation of Bitcoin dominance, you know, into your micro caps, which is where you see the likes of, you know, Fartboy absolutely explode. You've got a coin that we're looking at recently called Fox, that's absolutely doing really well. I think that could be gearing up to explode as well, and Ethereum meme coin right there. So there's many opportunities where you know, you're looking at multiple X's from this point. People FOMO into XRP, and like I've always taught you, buy big green candles, you're going to get big red dildos, pretty much what they've been getting. And again with Ethereum, it's coming up and people are foaming at the top. You need to be looking at coins that are under the radar, where the MACD is under the 0 line on the macro time frame, on the weekly, on the 5-day. That is where your opportunities are in this waterfall event in the Bitcoin dominance. So I hope you understand that. This channel is just all about making you as much money as I can in this space. I'm always delivering the data to you, that's all it is, okay? So you understand the update. Let's dive into another chart right now, which I think is a major clue to a major vertical in the charts going forward, okay? So looking at this chart, this is a very important chart. This is the entire cryptocurrency market cap, excluding Bitcoin, okay? The ticker is total 2, and again, if you've not got TradingView, I would highly recommend just getting involved, taking a look. I know it seems a bit like, you know, rocket science and things like that, but it's not, okay? Just open it up, look at the charts, play with the indicators, move to the left, see what you see, spot patterns, you know, just play with things, okay? And look for, obviously, the God candle backtests are the absolute key things you need to pay attention to. A lot of people call them fair value gaps, but I just call them God candle backtests to just simplify it for you, because when you see a God candle breakout, you'll always see price come back to that, you know, to confirm a support, or obviously a God candle breakdown to the downside, you'll always see it come back to that to confirm as resistance. And if you start taking out a resistance, fantastic. So they're clues to future price action, you know. So just there, really simple, you're taking off in space, just there, look at this, yeah, you're taking off in space. You created a God candle backtest just there, where you broke out in a God candle backtest. What do you do? ABC back down into that to confirm a support. So from here, you're making a series of higher lows and higher highs. You know, look at this beautiful uptrend in total 2, and again you've just made another higher high here in total 2. So people calling for a bear market there, bear market there, bear market there. We're not in you know, your lower highs, lower lows structure right there, where you know, you turn the corner, you're losing the ribbon and you're going red and things like that. You're holding it like a boss, okay? So we're in a whopping uptrend, although it's hard to believe. And what happens right towards that uptrend, at the end of that uptrend, we see, you know, altcoins crabbing, doing nothing, the boring, oh no, and then all of a sudden they do that, they have verticals, and it comes right towards the end, you know, in typically just here, This is where we saw the verticals across the board in crypto, so been here a million times, and again, I can't guarantee it, but we're right on cue towards the end. But what we've not seen at that point when everyone was saying bear market is the characteristics of the top, and it's really simple. You can identify it in this chart with another chart overlaid. So all you got to do is go to plus symbol and go to BTC just there, and go to new price to scale on your trading view charts. So again, at this point here, everyone was calling for a bear market, but this wasn't the characteristics at the top, and I relayed this to you at the time. Here, bear market wasn't the characteristics at the top, and I relayed that to you at the time. So what is the characteristics at the top? And I've gone through this with you many times before as to why I thought that was the top and that was not the top. From this point in the spring of 2021, I think we experienced a massive whopping A, B, C wave correction, a corrective phase of a larger cycle here for crypto that I relayed to you, okay? So basically, the characteristics of the impulse top, and this is what I'm talking about, an impulse top that ends, I think is coming in this market, okay? And there's absolutely no bias, but what I'm looking at is way back when, the characteristic of this cycle end was really simple. So your green line is Bitcoin, your candlesticks is your total 2 chart, which obviously is your altcoins excluding Bitcoin. Basically, alt season. So what we've got here, if you take a look, Bitcoin peaked in April 2021, sharp pullback, made the lower high, but total 2 peaked in 2021, came down, sharp pullback, but broke out. Characteristics of the top, nailed, okay? It didn't do it there, it did it here. This is why I think that's the top, and I've gone through this with you so many times till I'm blue in the face, okay? And if we move to the left, in the previous cycle, just here, exactly the same scenario. So we've got this peak in Bitcoin, sharp pullback, makes the lower high. You've got your sharp pullback in total 2, which is your altcoins, and then explode in the final, blow off top alt season right there. Beautiful. Characteristics of the top, nailed. We've not seen it in any price structure so far in this cycle, and this is why I don't think we've seen the top, basically, because if we're expecting that, at that point there, we saw a waterfall in the Bitcoin dominance, and equally here in 2017 into 2018, we saw the waterfall in the Bitcoin dominance, which is what leads to your alt season as well, that extra fuel for altcoins. So we've not seen it yet. Whether or not this time's different, I don't know. I've not got a crystal ball, but on the 5-day time frame, what we're looking for is Bitcoin to have a sharp pullback like this, comes up, makes a lower high, but total 2 is breaking out. So we've got to be careful, because over the next few weeks and the next few months, if we begin to see that characteristics between these 2 charts, then your cycle tops in. I'll relay that to you, but obviously I'm going to rely on all data points as well. I'm not just going to jump up and down and say the top's in, but if we do start to see some kind of characteristic like that, then obviously the market's in trouble, basically. So I'll keep you updated as best I can, but we never saw it there. We never saw it there when everyone was screaming for cycle tops and bear markets and things like that. So keep an eye on total 2. It's an amazing chart. Let's dive into the XRP chart right now to show you what I'm looking at, okay? So I'm just going to run through the bull market support band that I create for yourselves quickly and how you can use it. So basically it's a weekly time frame. Drop it into your charts, bull market support band. The link's in the video description. Really simple process. If you are already a VIP, all you got to do is go to the CoinsKid.com website, go log in, go to the settings page, and it will add it to your trading view automatically if you've already gone through that process, okay? But if you are looking for more indicators, sections on CoinsKid, then definitely get involved in the VIP. It's an amazing community that we've built, okay, in the Discord, and obviously with all the indicators and the tools that help you navigate this, very volatile market. Really simply, the CoinsKid BMS, your bull market support band, is really simple. It's this green line, okay, and every time we see a trend above it, we're in an uptrend, we're in a bull market. But if you start to trend below it, you're in basically a whopping correction and a pullback. Look, you lost it, resistance, start to get above. You're creating higher highs and higher lows. You're in an uptrend, you're in an impulse. Look at that, beautiful. You come up, make the lower high, you come back down, you're getting the ABC, look at that, and you're losing it. So again, from this point, you're making a series of higher highs, higher lows. You have a retest of this fractal low, which is your macro low, look at that, and then boom, you break out. So from this point, just respecting this key data, XRP right now is above its bull market support band by 8.15%, which sits at 268. So in an uptrend, in a bull market, any of these coins, they pull back like a magnet to the bull market support, okay? And this is where I always bid. For example, when I went away on holiday, I said to you, I'm putting bids down here. So this broke out, pulled back into the bull market support band, fantastic bid area. And this is what I look at. Whenever we start to see pullbacks in the market, I'm just looking for the bull market support band as support in a bull market, really simple. And again, in a bear market or a downtrend, it just acts as resistance, okay, where you can swing into or obviously short. Really, really simple. So if you zoom in on any time frame on the daily or whatever, you can clearly see how well it's trending above it. So you broke above it down here after this bottom in July. You're on its support and you're making this uptrend ever since. Okay, look at this, beautiful. And this was last year. So you broke above, holding support, breakout, holding support, breaking out. So you're still making beautiful uptrend bullish market structure where you're making higher highs and higher lows. Look at this. So we've recently put in a higher high, but the minute we turn over and we turn it into resistance and we start turning it into resistance, making lower highs, lower lows, then you've got to project down. Okay, you've got to look at the downtrend, you've got to look at bids below, and it's really simple. Okay, so it works on any time frame on any chart. All you do is install it into your trading view. For example, look at Ethereum right now, way above. So again it's a representation. Whenever you start to see the opposite of being really bullish, for example, you're coming down, you get really overextended from your bull market support band, it's always a good idea to bid to come back up. Okay, so overextension leads to retracement. Please remember that. You know, there's a saying in the market, bulls make money, bears make money, pigs get slaughtered. This is an example of pigs getting slaughtered. You're shorting the market right at the bottom. You know, you got your bullish divergence down there and you're coming back up, you're overextended from the bull market support. So you've come up, you're making higher highs and higher lows above the bull market support. But right now, Ethereum, just like, you know, pigs getting slaughtered down there, people are buying and foaming into Ethereum, but you're quite overextended from the bull market support. So you want to be buying the opportunities when you're really overextended to the downside, not to the upside. I hope you understand that. That's just a simple tutorial on how to use a bull market support band. So clearly you can see at the moment we are holding a series of higher highs and, you know, basically higher lows for XRP above the bull market support band. Okay, so the minute we start to roll over, you know, you get in your lower highs, lower lows, then obviously we've got to look for buybacks lower, and stay tuned because we nail those buybacks, you know, in downtrends and uptrends, whatever. You know, we nail these buy zones. For example, just for the XRP chart, as this was taking off and it was taking off into space, this ABC, I said to you, I think it's a free wave move, and I've got bids on the 164 God candle backtest in the charts. I remember releasing the video and everyone's like, no way, you're an idiot, I'm unsubscribing and all that rubbish. But you know, it eventually came down to this in a free wave move down to the 161, you know, down to this 164 buy zone, sorry, and it peaked down to 161. Look at that, nailed that. So for myself, I was putting bids on this buy zone like a relay to you, and currently them bids are up 76%. Amazing, fantastic. And you know, we're holding this bull market beautiful uptrend structure as it goes. So again, in time, you know, we'll find these buybacks and bid zones and things like that, and when it bounces, people will be like, why did it bounce? It's really simple. When you come up and you're breaking through resistance in God candles, you know, you do tend to come back to them God candles just to fill the void. I think people call them fair value gaps or whatever, but you know, I just call them God candle back tests because they're really simple to understand. And again, we've got all this resistance just here for XRP that was never back tested as a God candle back test. So in time, that is on my radar for a buyback. You know, if we do start to experience some kind of big crash and correction in the markets, that will be a very interesting zone for me to you know, bid for XRP. It really is that simple. Okay, a lot of people say no way and things like that, but you know, one of the clues will be breaking down below this particular bull market support band, flipping red, turn it into resistance, lower highs, lower lows. Then I think, you know, down here could be the sweet spot. But again, that's probably a bit of hopium. Time will tell. Who knows? No one's got a crystal ball. But so far, let's just you know, respect that the trend we're in. We're currently in a whopping uptrend here for XRP. It's doing incredibly well. You know, so we can't be bearish on it at the minute. But in time, obviously, you know, with the cycle top characteristics that I'm looking for, I will flip bearish on this chart, and I will be looking for the buy zones. And at that point, just straight off the bat, we can see one in the charts. You know, this range here, which was never back tested. So again, what we've got, if you take a look, we've got a beautiful inverted shoulders pattern just there on the daily, like I said to you. And what we've done, we broke out on this neckline just there, and we've never back tested it. There's a little bit of confidence right now that this is exactly where the bull market support sits. So if we've got an impulse here, we've got an ABC that does something like this. This would not surprise me. Comes down just below and shy of the bull market support, making another higher low. You've got 3 higher lows, comes down and then goes, you know, in the next big up for us for XRP. So that's currently what I'm tracking right now. Doesn't make me a perm bear, perm bull, whatever, but as long as we can retain the bull market support and, you know, retain this beautiful uptrend structure, which is what we are currently, then there's nothing to be bearish on XRP about, basically. But we will get these pullbacks. You know, look at this pullback. Oh no, it's going to zero. This pullback. Oh no, it's going to zero. And right now you're having this sort of correction. Now there is a bullish potential pattern here. You know, and I've relayed this to the CoinsKid crew. There may be some kind of pennant there. This particular chart on the daily time frame. If we can continue to hold this ascending level of support, this may be some kind of you know, basically an A into a B into a C into a D into an E compressed pennant like that. Absolutely, after an impulse off this low, you've come up impulsively, you're going sideways in a 5-wave correction and it breaks out. This is typical of something called a bull pennant. So again, these zones here, this back test of this range here may not even come. So we've got to keep an eye on this compression pattern that's potentially forming for XRP. If it does begin to do something like this over the next few weeks leading to September, it could be the fact that it's a bull pennant. If that is the case, you can work out your projected target, because from there to the previous level of consolidation, from the last leg of resistance and support, this lines up with a target just there. I think that's a fib, the 1414 fib, around about $4.58, which would be amazing. So why am I looking at that fib? The reason is, from this low to this high, you take a look, I think the next fib levels, we've got the 1.272 and we've got the 1414. So if this is a bull pennant like this that's come up and it's trading sideways like this, keep an eye on this ascending level support and keep an eye on this descending level resistance, because if it does begin to take it out, you could be continuing a trend here, okay, for XRP, where the technical target would be the 1414 at $4.63 and the potential overshoot to the 1618 around about $5.50. But at that point, if we do start to see this break, okay, for XRP, what is happening in a total 2 chart with Bitcoin? Is it the end? Possibly it could be. So I'll leave you with that. Hope you understand the update. If you are looking for trades and indicators and data, definitely get involved in the Discord, okay? Hope you understand the update. Stay off station, stay tuned. Take care everyone. Back to an update in XRP. Bye bye.